Well, welcome to the video you never knew you wanted to watch. This is a ladder race, 5v5 normally, but if it could have gone wrong, it did go wrong. So with a few problems, we ended up with a 3v3. And as you can see on the chat there, Chris is having some technical issues. He cannot get his trainer to work. He's pedaling 100 watts at 100 RPM and just got no resistance. So we are trying to get that sorted. We've got 30 seconds to go, all looking a bit tight. We are here for the ladder race, 2 laps out of Scotland Loop. I'm not sure how you pronounce their team name. Buteos. But either way, fantastic guys. Very, very good sportsmanship. And we had a very, very, very slow rollout. Trying to get the numbers in there. Trying to get Chris working with us. So you can see there, straight away, all 4 of us off. But, you know, it's just not kind of working there. Chris is back down to 1 watt. He's not having the greatest of time. So anyway, we're having a nice slow rollout. A little bit about this race. Like I say, 2 laps out of Scotland. Looking at the power numbers, these guys had some really, really good 20-minute and 5-second power. But when we look at 30-day, we're a bit more even. So it could be a really close race. Now, as we can see, Chris has dropped off the back. His legs are spinning like Billy-O and he's just not going anywhere. So not working out too great. So that's leaving myself and Pete kind of flying the flag now for Snow against 3 of their guys. So me and Pete really couldn't be much further from opposite ends of the spectrum as you can get. Now Pete is like a diesel. He's got fantastic 20-minute power. Whereas myself, awful 20-minute power. I'm more of a 5-second, 15-second kind of guy. I'm sure my wife would agree. Anyway, moving on. We are just crossing now the start-finish line to the loop. And I think I put a message up about now. You know, Chris has dropped off. We can't do it. So now we're down to 3v2. Not quite sure how to do these tactics now. Like I said, me and Pete, very opposite ends of the spectrum, and those guys are very evenly matched as a 3. So at this point, I'm expecting myself to be struggling the most. I've got the lowest 20-minute power, and I just can see them riding me off their wheel. So let's see how that turns out. We've got a fairly easy start. As you can see on the graph down the bottom, I've got, you know, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, bit of yellow, no big efforts at all. So at the minute, I'm feeling great. This can carry on as long as I want. And this just helps me out, you know, with my sprint. The slower the race is, the more effective I can be. Problem is, Miguel doesn't enjoy that, so he drops a watt bomb right on the front, 7 watts, and there we go. We've got to react to this. So knowing I've got the punch, I react, try and neutralize his attack. Pete can then just do his diesel thing. He can just keep 6 watts and just drag himself back up. My problem is, I'm worried now there's going to be a counter and someone's going to come rolling over the top. So, you know, it's early in the game. You know, we've only done 2.5k. We're going to be good for this. We're going to be all right. So it's not a big climb, plenty of draft. So I think they're just testing us out on this one. They've got the numbers. Looking at the graphs on the ladder website, you know, they'd have seen our numbers. So I think at this time they're just trying to see what we've got, what we can do. And as we reach the top of this first little lump, all is even. So we're all back together. The pace has dropped off again. So now we're kind of getting ready for the next little kick. So we've got a bit of a descent coming up here. And hopefully we will just roll on down nice and steady. Now, one thing I will mention, last couple of races I have been full of cold, and this today feels kind of getting back to normal, getting the legs back, get a bit of oxygen in there. So as we pass that banner at the top, let's just whiz this down the descent and see where we come to. So, little descent. I'm now thinking we've got the corkscrew. We've got that little kit coming up. I'm now saying to Pete, you know, get off the front. Let's roll into this from the back of the pack. Use a bit of draft, and let them drag us up that first little bit, because, you know, they're going to attack. It's a great place to do that. It's a short climb, but it's got a fair bit of gradient on it. So Pete, he's just doing his thing. He's just putting down some watts, and I think he wants to hit it with as much speed. I'm lazy, so I want to go from the back. So all I'm doing now, I'm just looking at their numbers. Who's going to do what? Straight away, Miguel again, their strongest rider, 7 watts. And here we go. Everybody's on it now. Red numbers popping up. And unfortunately, this is where Pete's kick isn't quite there. He's putting out his biggest numbers he can, but on this bit of steepness, you know, it's not enough, and so he just loses a little bit of wheel there. Those riders come past, they're keeping on the power, they're 6 watts. They can now see they've got a little bit of a gap. I'm now just holding off. I've got to try and draw this line as far out as I can, staying in their draft, but also offering Pete a little bit as well. It's getting touch and go. They're still kind of pushing on the front a little bit. I don't want to be in no man's land. You know, a 3v2 time trial, they're just going to walk all over us. So I've got to make a decision. Do I wait for Pete? And do we just accept it? Or do I try and stay with the pack and see what I can do? Well, I'm sorry, Pete. I decide to stick with them and just see what we can do. Be a bit of a pest, try and disrupt their flow, just do whatever I can. And I think here I have a little dig. You know, yeah, they've just put a lot of effort in there. What have they got? So not a huge attack, but just enough. And Miguel responds immediately. Andreas and Lee, yeah, they're doing what they need to. They're not doing any more than they need to. They're still there. They're still with it. And they're just going to follow me over the top. Pete's now got 10 seconds behind. It's unlikely he's going to be able to catch up. So let's speed this up and see what happens. Well, we've jumped forward quite a bit now. 17.5k done, just under 5 left. Now, if only the real 17k was as easy as that. That was just nothing horrendous. It was just a constant. They were rolling through, not big watts, but I was always having to kind of put in those little efforts. Now, the pace has just all gone out of the race. They've done quite a bit of work. No huge attacks, like I said, but just constant. We're going to see now where that takes us. So again, just going to fast forward a little bit. I think what they're doing at this point is they're just taking as much sting out of my legs as possible. They're using the numbers. They're not having to work any harder than they need to. You know, the little bit of moving around on the road, but it's a little bit pointless at this point where we're getting close to the end, and there's not a lot of road left to go. Now, what is significant is the road that is left is not easy. So just coming around the magic roundabout, or the mystic roundabout I think it's called, and again Andreas, he drops a burrito, he puts some power down, and this is just a bit of a long drag. I close it down, they are just going to follow me and go straight over the top. There's not a lot I can do. It's a great attack. They time it right. Red numbers as soon as he gets a little bit of a gap. Now, I've got to chase. I've done it this far. I've put in as much as I can. I don't want to make it easy for them, so I drop my burrito. I was trying to hold it, but you know, this felt like the winning move now. I think Miguel was their strongest rider, I think, from paper. Not to say the others weren't strong, that's for sure. But I've closed it down. Miguel's there. But, you know, we're coming up to the Clyde kicker. I've just put in a lot of effort there. Heart rate's at 160. My legs are feeling very, very heavy. Perfect tactics now from the Buteos. He just comes rolling through. As soon as he gets to the back wheel, he does that little kick. And right about now, I'm thinking, I'm toast. I can't match it. But I've got my DS Jake in my ear. He has no sympathy. He doesn't feel the pain in my legs. He's just shouting at me to dig harder, push harder, put more watts out. So I think this is where they could have kind of thrown a bit of the race if I was stronger. We get to the flat part of the kicker, and their guys are right on my wheel, and they end up coming over me. Now, I'm doing what I can. I think I get back Lee. I do. What an effort. Even now watching this, it tires me out. But yeah, so now Miguel comes past. Or does he? No, he doesn't. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to watch this because, quite frankly, at this point, I had no idea what was going on. So anyway, yes, I remember this bit. I want to roll down here and then take as much speed up that next little kick, because if Lee doesn't put the power down in a race, this is a good place to attack. You see there, Lee's got 4 seconds on me. I do one attack. Not that the 4 seconds comes tumbling down, but I certainly put the other guys in the hurt. Drop another burrito on them. You know, just trying to make as much of a race of this as I can. Heart rate now 167, 68. There's not a lot I can do. Lee, I've kind of took a second out of him, but he's still putting out good numbers. Miguel's now taken me, so I'm now pulling Andreas around. He's coming past. You know, what is it to do? As my wife called it, one bend, 3 cups. I'm not sure that is an appropriate name for the video, and I think it says a lot more about my wife than I would like to admit. Here we go. We're coming up to the last couple of corners now. We've got 600 meters to go. We've got Lee 5 seconds out in front, putting out some big numbers. What am I to do? I don't know. All in. Let's just go for it. Let's just put down everything I've got. Now, at this point, everything hurts. We've all been there. My heart rate is now climbing, climbing, climbing. The finish line doesn't come quick enough. It's only 300 meters. But why does it feel so long when you're this tired? Miguel comes past, not doing huge numbers, and I'm thinking, is he going to pull me through? Is he going to drag me to the line? Andreas, he comes through. He's pulling me to the line. I try it one last time, one last dig. 750 watts. It's not my best numbers, and it's not good enough. I get pipped on the line. Now, a special little treat for you folks. I won't even play the audio, but right about now, there's not just a lot of hair in my face. There's going to be a bit of vomit as well. I'm not proud of it. Well, I am actually. Whatever. It was a great race. It was a fantastic race. I hope we get a bit of a rematch because this was super, super close. I hope the Buteos enjoyed it. I did everything I could to give them a good race. And once again, thank you to those guys for their sportsmanship. And I will see you on the next one. Like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you like this kind of content. If not, tell me you don't, and I won't bother doing it again. Take it easy, all. Bye.